We all know that ache, that deep, yearning space in the heart for something profoundly desired but seemingly out of reach. For many, that yearning is for a child. The quiet longing for tiny fingers, a soft cry, a legacy carried forward. But what happens when that dream encounters the harsh reality of infertility? When month after month, year after year, hope dwindles and silence fills the nursery that remains empty. In our modern age, scientific advancements offer pathways unimaginable generations ago. One such path is surrogate pregnancy. But for Christians, this isn't just a medical choice. It's a profound spiritual and ethical contemplation. It asks us, is this God's will, or are we crossing a line into wombs for hire? The desire for children echoes through the pages of our sacred texts. Think of Sarah, well past childbearing years, yearning for Isaac. Or Rachel crying out to Jacob, "Give me children, or I shall die." Genesis 31. And Hannah pouring out her soul before the Lord for a son, Samuel. Their stories are not just ancient narratives. They are timeless reflections of the human heart's deepest longing and God's compassionate response to it. For many Christian couples facing infertility today, this longing is just as real, just as painful. The medical journey can be exhausting, emotionally draining, and financially burdensome. So when surrogacy presents itself as a potential answer, a glimmer of hope, it's understandable why it's explored. But as people of faith, our choices aren't solely guided by what is medically possible or emotionally desirable. They must be rooted in biblical principles and ethical discernment. Let's consider this through three lenses: childbearing, helping others, and the ethical implications of compensation. First, childbearing. From the very beginning, God blessed humanity with the command, or perhaps the profound gift, to be fruitful and multiply. Genesis 1:28. This isn't a strict mandate for every individual, but it speaks to the Creator's design for life and family. Does pursuing surrogacy align with this divine blessing by seeking to bring life into a family that longs for it? Or does the method itself step outside God's intended design for procreation, which traditionally involves the marital union? This is where prayerful consideration becomes crucial for each couple. Second, the Christian call to help others. As followers of Christ, we are called to love our neighbor, to bear one another's burdens, Galatians 6:2, and to live lives of compassion. Could entering into a surrogacy arrangement be seen as an act of profound love? On the one hand, a couple receives the immense gift of a child. On the other, a woman offers her body, time, and immense emotional investment to help another family. If done with pure motives, transparency, and mutual respect, could it be a form of selfless giving? Here, however, the waters become murkier, leading us to our third and perhaps most challenging lens, the ethical considerations, particularly concerning the payment often involved. The very phrase "wombs for hire" sends shivers down the spine of many. Is paying a woman to carry a child a compassionate act, or does it inadvertently commodify a sacred process, and indeed the woman herself? The Bible consistently upholds the dignity of every human being, created in God's image. When money exchanges hands for carrying a child, we must carefully examine intentions and outcomes. Are we truly helping, or are we exploiting economic vulnerability, potentially turning a woman's body into a means to an end rather than valuing her as an end in herself? What about the profound physical and emotional bond that develops during pregnancy? For the surrogate mother, navigating the 9 months of carrying a child, feeling movements, experiencing birth, and then relinquishing that child can be deeply complex. What are the long-term emotional and spiritual implications for her? And what of the child's identity? While deeply loved and wanted, the circumstances of their birth involve a unique and often complex relationships. There are no explicit verses in Scripture that directly address modern surrogacy. So we turn to foundational biblical principles: justice, compassion, the sanctity of life, and the dignity of the human person. It invites us to consider, for example, the potential for exploitation, especially in commercial surrogacy, where economic disparities might be a factor. It also asks us to reflect on the nature of family, parenthood, and the miraculous way God creates life. Each situation is unique, laden with prayer, conversation, and a deep seeking of God's wisdom. It's not about finding a simplistic yes or no, but about wrestling with complex questions, holding integrity and love at the forefront. So, is surrogate pregnancy God's will or wombs for hire? Perhaps it's neither, or perhaps it's both, depending on how it's approached. It reminds us that faith isn't about easy answers, but about navigating life's profound challenges with prayer, discernment, and a commitment to biblical ethics. It's about asking not just can we, but should we, and how can we do so in a way that honors God and upholds the dignity of all involved. Ultimately, for Christians, the journey through infertility and the exploration of options like surrogacy must be bathed in prayer, guided by wisdom, and centered on upholding the dignity of all involved: the yearning parents, the generous surrogate, and the precious child. What are your thoughts on this complex topic? Share your reflections in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation with grace and understanding. And if this discussion resonated with you, please consider following or subscribing for more thoughtful explorations of faith and life.